Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Gnomad Gamers podcast. Today, we have two guests in because Godfather's still out of town, and Fireball is having some tech issues, so he will not be able to join us today. I have our producer, Sweet Kitty Pie, a very close friend and supporter, Zanar Crestrider, and today, and myself still, Kaiser Chungus. And welcome. Today, this makes up your Nomad Gamers and Co. I want to give a shout out to the YouTuber viewers. Thank you for your continued viewership. Continued viewership. We very much appreciate you guys all the time. Going in, viewing, watching our content. We appreciate that. Thank you. We still, with our Facebook viewers, we again also appreciate you guys. We are still so close to that 100 follower goal, so we can start going live on Facebook to you guys and have more interaction. So please follow, comment down below, share us around, do all the things that need to get done. Please, we are so close. With that being said, we are still doing our chill talks type situation here. I know I have some news that I can go in and be ready to share. Do either of you two want to go first, though?
Oh, I'm pretty sure we all know what this entire podcast is going to be about.
What are you talking about?
Switch 2?
No!
There's going to be
what are you talking about?
Quite a discussion on that one.
Yeah, I actually have a couple pieces of news. I'll just lead us into it then. I'm a big from software type of enjoyer. The Elden Ring, the Dark Souls, all those types of games. There's an exclusive for the Switch that is not made by Nintendo going to the Switch, which is a FromSoft title. It is called Duskblood.
Is that the one that they're like completely touting right now, going, "Oh, this is going to be a Nintendo"?
Yes, because it's a big deal.
When you want a challenging game and a hardcore dedication to beating it, your first thought is Nintendo.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. That's what makes me excited, because it's a lot of people are touting it as a Bloodborne 2, which was a PlayStation exclusive, which fantastic, by the way. So this is absolutely going to be a title that I know a lot of From Software fans are going to be like, I'm going to have to get a Switch to play this game. They're just going to have to. Until they get it released on the PC, and then then it won't be a problem.
That's going to be the thing.
Down the line.
Is it might start off as a Nintendo exclusive, but it's a third-party game. So there's going to be a point where they're going to have the freedom to bring it wherever they want.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether they choose to do so or not remains to be seen. And they never did take Bloodborne off of the PlayStation, so they could actually just leave it.
Yeah, I'm excited regardless. I might get a Switch.
Where I think that the Switch may really come into play with it is the people that don't want to be spoiled on the game. The people that go through social media and doom scroll, and they go through YouTube, and they keep trying to find things, and then all of a sudden, oh, here's a Bloodborne playthrough. And then they're going to be like,
big driver for gaming.
Okay, I'm going to buy a new console because I want to play this game for myself. I don't want to, because, I mean, let's be real. Once you watch a playthrough, you lose your interest in it a lot of times. I mean, yeah. I know Fireball did that with The Last of Us 2. And I mean, like he was saying, The Last of Us is the only game that he platinumed. And he was planning on doing The Last of Us 2 until he watched a playthrough. And then it was just like, oh, I don't really want to do that anymore.
I think I've got a couple of things wired in my head, because I can watch somebody do a playthrough, and all that makes me want to do is play the game myself.
It depends on the title for me. There's certain games where I'm like, this is definitely a game, if I watch somebody play it, I don't need to play it. But story-driven games, I absolutely... That's what I mean. Like, Last of Us specifically, the gameplay is fun enough, but I'm there for the story. So if they made a third one, I would just probably watch somebody play it instead of playing it myself.
Right, learning the story. I mean, the games where you can take and you can make your own story, like let's go way back. Fallout 3. There's 15 different ways you can end that game.
Yeah.
Now, do you play through and do you watch all 15? Do you spend the hours to watch all 15 playthroughs? Or do you just do it yourself? I mean, that's really the only way that I can see if you write in multiple endings. It's the only way I can see that you would continuously get good playthrough.
Or just like the variety of builds you can do or anything like that with the perks and weapons. It's like there's a lot you can do. So there's, even if you watch 3 playthroughs of somebody else playing, you're still going to have a different experience depending on what you do in that game. So Fallout is a great example of that, of being like, I could, Fallout 5, yeah, I'll watch a playthrough of that. And then I'll play it myself, you know? Like,
and then,
it could be that type of situation.
Here, and for instance, why is Minecraft still so popular when you have one? Because you have the ability to do multiple things, and the gameplay is never the same twice. One world is completely different than another world. I mean, having the variations is what keeps games going. I mean,
replayability, that's what sells.
And
you paid what? I mean, Zanar, you've played with us. If you don't know, we have a private server that we go and play on for Minecraft that is just literally 6,000 blocks big right now.
I actually am on that server. I was added to it recently.
Yeah, I haven't been on in a hot minute because school has been just taking everything, and I'm currently at some point. Maybe you and I can FaceTime. I don't have a headset anymore, but I can walk you through the entire server because it's.
I've just been waiting for the next time that you guys get on to play, and I was just going to jump in and, hunt Godfather down. Not to attack him or anything, but I thought it would be funny to just have him going along, and then he turns around and I'm just standing right there because his reactions are funny.
So part of that build is we have. I would say 10 satellite bases right now, and a subway system that goes to all of them, and it spans. I think the map is currently 4x4, and I'm currently taking it 5x5.
The big map.
Yeah, the continuous map. So that's what I'm working on, and I have no problems coming back and showing you the ropes. But yeah, I mean, it might actually be fun to do a group night and stream from that. But and I have no idea where I was going. Oh,
Yay for ADHD.
Replayability with games, the variation in games. Yeah,
we've always talked about. I want $1 an hour, or I want 50 cents an hour. That's what I'm willing to play for a game. I have literally spent thousands of hours because when Godfather was deployed, that's what we do. We would FaceTime and play Minecraft together, and we would build shit. And he would collect, I would build, and it was all. That's all we ever did. I have thousands of hours in for $15.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I bought the game way back when it was still in alpha and beta, and I got it really cheap. I think I paid $10 for my account.
While we pay $7 a month for a server, I can guarantee you there is more than 7 hours of gameplay on that server a month.
Oh yeah, easily.
So I mean, even with the continuation of the upgrade for the server and the $15, and I mean, there's in-app buys, but I can't see myself. I give zero fucks. I mean, Fireball put a texture pack on it, the whole server. So that is why that game has stood the test of time. And with implementation of servers, that game has become even stronger, because how many people are paying $6.99 a month for a dedicated 10-person play place? And that's where I say I brought that up the last time we taped on how if Rockstar, Bethesda, all these online gameplays, I know that one of the things that I was kind of off on GTA was when people start getting bored on GTA, they start fucking with you.
Mm-hmm.
They start blowing you up. And I am not an avid GTA player. I play off and on. So when I'm on, I want to make the money. But I can't make money if somebody's always blowing me up. So it's like, all right, fine. If I can't do what I need to do and I can't do what I want to do, I'm done. So there's a great place where you could easily, $5? You want a server? You want space for 7 players to play, 8 players to play, $5 a month? We'll do
and that was always my complaint with Red Dead Online was you were forced into public lobbies where people could mess with you. Couldn't go just have my fun with my brother. You know, we live 500 miles apart and we play games together to enjoy our time. I couldn't go hang out with him in peace. We had somebody constantly messing with us, and that's what ruined that one for us. But I get what you're saying, and that's honestly going to make me laugh a little bit. Swinging back to the Switch 2 a little bit. What kind of special edition of Skyrim do you think they're going to put out on it?
Oh, dude, this is going to be the specialist edition of Skyrim. This is like the super uber anniversary edition. You know, gotta love when a game stands the test of time like that by having 6 other editions for it. The cash cow of Bethesda right there. I swear to you.
Now, what about when are they coming out with the next Mario Kart? Has that been announced yet?
That's a launch title.
That's a launch title.
That's a launch title.
June 15th.
So,
that's when we can expect it.
June what?
15th.
So though
5th. Sorry,
Godfather's missing my birthday. He wants me to reward him for his. That's nice.
Well, that does bring me to a couple of points that I had wanted to talk to about the Switch, because they made some announcements that I was rather pleased with, and some announcements that I was very much not pleased. They announced that they were bringing the GameCube to the Virtual Console with The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker as a launch. Well, they didn't say launch, but they said it was coming. So
that's going to be
based on how they've gone with the other systems Virtual Console on the Switch, that could be anything from it's going to be there right away to it's 3 years down the line and they're just kind of dangling that string in front of you to get your attention.
Yeah.
They have, to my knowledge, added everything that they have promised and then some to the existing console, Virtual Consoles. And that really caught my attention because I didn't know anything about that. And then they had that come out and I was like, oh, hey, GameCube games. I had some bad life events happen in my GameCube days and I lost all my games. So gaining access to some of them again would be fantastic. And I was even looking at the price tag of the Switch 2 going, it's pricey, but okay, maybe
an extra $150.
It's on par. Switch. It's on par with what you would pay for next gen for the others, for Xbox and Sony. However, it's still a handheld game. But yeah, it's a handheld game. It's basically like a 2-in-1. So with Samsung So with Sony and Microsoft, you have to go buy a next gen console to play that stuff. It's not an all-in-one, whereas a Switch is.
And that's the thing. I think it's kind of like PCs versus laptops, where laptops tend to be a little less powerful, but they're portable.
Yeah.
So and you can get the beefy laptops.
You can get beefy ones,
expensive, but you can do it. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of on the fence on this now, where I was just solidly like meh before. And then they come out and they talk about the virtual cartridges where you can loan them out. And I went, I buy a lot of games. And I have my brother, my nephew, my wife, my son, all on my family plan. Nintendo themselves on their own family share plan. They're like, get your family together or grab some friends. We don't care. Split the cost. Everybody, as long as people are paying for it, they don't care.
They don't care. But on the flip side, $30 to upgrade what you have from Switch to
that is one of the points I was displeased about, especially when the others were at least in the launch window of the console, were offering free upgrades to select games that had next gen patches or versions coming. So right there on the border cusp, they were kind of doing both, especially for PlayStation. I'm less familiar with Xbox, so Chungus, you guys are going to have to chip in on that one. But I'm pretty sure they did much the same thing.
I don't know much about Xbox. I mean, the one thing that I know that we love about Xbox is Game Pass. I mean,
Xbox has actually been pretty decent about their everything. Typically,
yeah.
Xbox is oddly consumer friendly, but also not sometimes.
So the reason why I hate Xbox is I hate the controller.
Yeah, I love the controller. I mean, I got one right here.
I got no issues with the controller.
So this is my child. She's pretty. She is green. But I cannot handle having that toggle switch up here and having the keys down here. Just the difference in and I guess it's because, yeah. Well, this is This is my third controller because I have a bad habit of leaving it on my chair. And I have a 115-pound dog that likes to lay on top of it. So I get stick drift pretty quickly.
Well, I have one that I dedicated use for my PC, and then one I use for my PlayStation. I had an Xbox Elite controller, but the buttons went just completely to shit on it for no reason. And I hadn't even been using it, and it just, they corroded over time. But,
we have, God's Father primarily plays on the Xbox. Xbox Switch. I have the PS5 in my room. I have my own little room, which you can see behind me. It is mine. He cannot take it away, and there's not even room for him to sit, which I love. But I have the PS5 in my room because I am a Sony person. I am a PS5 person. PlayStation. I grew up on Nintendo and PlayStation and Sega, but we won't talk about how old a Sega is.
But not as old as a Nintendo.
How old is a Nintendo?
Old enough.
Well, let's just put it this way. My mom used to tell me video games are going to rot my brain, and she used to get mad as hell when she would catch my dad and I playing Nintendo together. And my mom kept telling my dad, "You're too old for kids' games."
The original Nintendo, just for reference, came out pretty much around the time I was born.
So are you telling me I'm the oldest one here? I need God's Father.
I just turned 40, so.
No, I get a little older than that next week, so.
But anyway, I keep getting off topic because, we all have ADHD and the one topic leads to another, and we all know how that train goes.
You need to, insert a squirrel running across the screen when we start doing that.
Yeah.
That pretty much is. So let's see. We talked about the price of the Switch. We started to talk about the virtual cartridges.
So one of the things I wanted to bring up is we recently had a conversation about setting precedents in the industry on the raising price of GTA 6. So what precedence is it going to set when Nintendo raises the prices for digital to $80?
Not only have they raised the price another $10 over what they already did with Sony and Microsoft with this current console generation, they're doing that for the digital. The physical cost another $10 over that, so a $20 jump. And how long is it,
honestly,
how long is it for them to do this? And if it if the Switch 2 is a successful console, which Nintendo is kind of an every other console generation kind of company the last 20 years or so. So that remains to be seen. However, if there's any modicum of success in this, what are the other two going to do? Are they going to follow suit and all of a sudden jump their digital price and then jump the physical price even more? It's companies attempting to drive the physical version out because one, that gets rid of secondhand sales. They don't like those. There's no profit in them for that. Two, saves them manufacturing costs. They don't have to manufacture or ship physical merchandise.
Yep.
Right. So why is it only, I mean, that little cartridge does not cost just $10.
No. I would estimate that generously at about $2 to $3 in parts and manufacturing. The rest of the cost is profit, shipping.
And let's
there's not much to it.
Let's be real. In this day and age, how many people actually buy the physical copies?
Well, I mean, if I could, I would, but being a PC gamer, there's not many games being released in the physical form anymore.
That is why I typically buy physical for my consoles when I can, because PC, I'm pretty much all digital, and I have been for a long time, because like you said, they don't let you buy physical copies for games anymore.
They don't make physical copies anymore.
I don't even have a DVD drive built into my system anymore.
Most people don't, because it's not needed to.
I remember, so my MacBook is a dinosaur. It's ancient. I love it. I don't want to get rid of it. I'm going to have to very, very soon, because it is no longer being updated. I remember when I bought that, and I'm looking for the disk drive port, the CD port, and there was nothing. And I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to survive? And, being back in school for IT, I have a computer dedicated to Linux. And when putting, my teacher and I were talking, and we're like, what happened to CD drives? I don't know how to do anything without download. How do you boot? And then, yeah.
So I wanted to watch movies on my computer. I had to go out and buy one of these little USB doojobbies, because you can't find very easily the built-in ones anymore.
No.
Not if you wanted a Blu-ray player, and that's what that is. That's a Blu-ray player.
Right.
Remember PS3 days, a big old blocky thing that you had to have?
Yeah. I hate the moving away from the physical for digital, especially for the sheer fact of, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, having a physical copy was to gain access. Like, you got the software on the disc. It was everything. It's everything you needed. There was no server you had to connect to play the game.
You plug it in, you played.
Yep.
Right.
That hasn't been the case for 2 consoles now for most platforms.
Well, and even
because you have to get the day one patch. They ship the game incomplete and patch it later.
Yes. Because I was just going to say, I mean, even if you get a digital or a physical copy, when you install it, when you put it in for the first time, you still got to wait 5-6 hours before you can play it, because it's got to download everything.
That was the bane of my brother's existence, because where he's living, they only just got decent internet in the last couple years. So for the 10 years prior to that, anytime he got a new game, it was a nightmare to get updated, because he didn't have the good internet necessary to download these massive files.
Well, and look at, what we would go through in our Fallout 76 days with Spider-Man. I mean, he oftentimes wouldn't play with us because he lived in the middle of nowhere in a moonshiner's hut, and he barely got internet to run the game, and it would take him days to upload a patch.
I remember that.
So, I mean, granted, internet capabilities have come a long way, and Starlink and other things, and that's what I think that they're banking off of. But still, rural America is still rural America.
There are still places where it's not great, and that's one of the issues. The other issue is, and something that they have announced is going to happen for the Switch 2, is these physical cartridges. Some of them, and they did specify particularly third-party games, are not going to be the game on the cartridge. What the cartridge is going to include is an authentication key that will tie to your account when you put the game in and allow you to download the game. Now, it doesn't count as a digital copy of the game, though. Even though the full game is on your console and not in the cartridge, you still have to put that cartridge in to play it.
Another one of our friends.
That's just digital with extra steps.
Yes, it
another
is.
another one of our friends that I visit quite frequently got me addicted to a game that I can't pronounce, and I bought it. I found it on sale at Walmart. I have not played it because I've been.
Forspoken?
Let me look it up.
Which one is it? Forspoken.
While they're both doing their Google foo.
I like that Google food.
I get a couple of minutes of free run here. So, the digital cartridges.
Yeah.
They have announced that you can share them with somebody on your family plan, which is great. The restriction is you have to be on the same internet or the same local network, which is counterintuitive to their previous announcements of their family plan, where they're like, hey, get a bunch of friends together. So now instead of having, say, Chungus jumped on mine because I've got 3 extra slots and I'm paying the same whether I'm using them or not. So I bring Chungus in there and he's now got the Nintendo Switch Online. That's great. That's well within their rules. I can't loan him any games because we're several states apart and we can't get on the same local network for me to hit that cartridge over to him and let him play the game. I get what they're trying to prevent. They're trying to prevent just unauthorized sharing of stuff. But if you allow people to go onto a family plan, you should not have to be on the same network to share a game to them.
No.
Especially since they have also stated that share will automatically revert after 14 days. They get it for 2 weeks, and then it goes straight back.
You can only share, correct me if I'm wrong, you can only share one game with one person at a time, i.e. like...
I believe so.
So it's not like you'd be sharing with like every single game you have all the time. It's like, oh, I want to play this specific game for a little bit. Okay, sure. And they can only have that one game for a set amount of time.
Yep. They have to give it back before they can take something else. Yep. And which people would say it's a contention point because they don't like it. But if you're sharing a game, you can't play it while they're playing it. Now, I have no issue with that because that's the exact same as, oh, hey, sit here and I just grab a random case that I've got. I've got a game here. I give it over.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was applying chapstick, and I didn't want
I
people
would
to
start
see
over and let him cut out that section to where it shows his name.
All right. So, you got a physical game. Got one right here. Just happened to be the first one I grabbed. I go to loan it to Kitty, and I can't play it. Well, duh, she's got my cartridge. Digital one, same way. No big deal. That's a complete non-issue as far as I'm concerned. The only potential hiccup on that would be I want to play it. So do I have the ability to be like, hey, give it back. It's mine. I want to play it.
I would assume.
If you can, even while they're playing it, well, that's a lot better than real life because, you try and take it back from somebody who's played it in real life. Sometimes you end up with a black eye and no game.
Yeah.
So if you could just go in there digitally and be like, hey, that's mine, give it back, and they have no power to do anything about that, then
because they
you've
don't
got
own
no
it.
issues.
Yeah.
If you've got to wait that 2 weeks because Nintendo's like, hey, you told them it was okay to borrow it. Now you're going to honor that word until they either give it back or the 2 weeks lapse. Well, then you might be a little more careful on what you loan out when.
Yeah, Nintendo... I don't know what's up with companies being sometimes consumer friendly and then not. Like, you will catch... I don't know why they still try to do the catching flies with vinegar versus honey. Like, be good and I will willingly give you my money to support you.
Exactly.
It's that easy.
The problem is the people who are in charge of making these decisions can't see anything but dollar signs in front of their face. So they will jump at the first opportunity to make profit that they find instead of sitting back and looking at it going, hey, if we take a small hit here, it's going to turn around and do a major, boost later. And for a lot of companies, it's because they're publicly traded and their investors demand constant growth and are not willing to suffer a minor setback. So it's shooting yourself in the foot to get 2 steps ahead is what they do.
Yeah, it's starting to wane on me. It's starting to really man. This is why I switched to. I'm not gonna lie. This is why I switched to PC gaming, because I can live without Nintendo games. All right, I was doing it before. I can do it again. I bought the Switch when it came out the first time. The first Switch. I loved The Legend of Zelda. That was great. I really enjoyed that.
And think about it.
But I can live without that.
Nintendo is adamant that you play their games in their environment, their ecosystem, so they've got control of it. How many more copies of Pokemon do you think they would sell if they went, hey, this is available on PC, this is available on the PlayStation or the Xbox?
But how many less consoles would they sell?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. They sell infinitely more consoles, like actual units of their system, than either PlayStation or Xbox and Sony, for the sheer fact, and we know this as through statistics and over the years. Now, the Microsoft and Sony have always taken losses on their consoles.
That's the thing, is consoles have notoriously been, you sell them at a loss to drive game sales. That was the word I was struggling with. Does Nintendo do that, or do they make a profit on their consoles and they just don't care?
I can double check that. I believe they are making profit on their consoles when they sell. But I'm gonna fact check.
But this wouldn't be the same, or this wouldn't be the first time that Nintendo has suffered major backlash and potentially a boycott of the console. Because if you remember, the 3DS went through this, where it launched at an absurdly high price and nobody bought it. They ended up coming out with a loyalty program to reward those that did, and they dropped $100 off the price. And that was when the console started selling.
Sorry, I am...
Okay, I need a break. I need a 5-minute break.
Okay.
And there were 2.
Yeah, then there were 2. So I'm looking this up.
Special guest, the dog.
They see. Oh, this is not clear at all. Thank you. I really enjoy this.
That may be something that we have to look into for the next.
Yeah, I got to look into this further, because yeah. There's a lot to actually dig through with this. At this moment, I'm just so I'm not wrong, they're operating at a loss on their consoles like everybody else, and they're making their money on their sales.
And
which,
that
to be fair, yeah, go ahead.
That would be the running theory, because you're trying to drive the sales of the games, because that's where your profit comes in. Yes, you spend a lot of money developing these games, but once you have that, you just throw it out into the world. And Nintendo is notorious; their first party games never go on sale. They never depreciate the price.
No, they do not.
I go to the store and I'm looking at launch titles still in that case, still at full price. All the third-party stuff slowly comes down.
But all the Nintendo games, like Mario Kart and fucking, oh my god, they're still full-priced games. So
when Walmart drops the price on Nintendo games, when they're trying to get rid of them, like the previous generations of Pokemon, when they're clearing them out so that they can put the new ones in, that is the only time that they will actually drop those prices.
It's insanity. Oh my goodness. Like I give Nintendo a lot of shit. Like again, not cutting anybody any slack, right? But still acknowledging that they do some good. They do some
for
good.
For all of the grief that we give them and all of the displeasure that we have about some of their decisions, I don't think there's any of us that participate in this podcast that can really say that we have not gotten a vast majority of our or not necessarily a vast majority, but a significant portion of our gaming entertainment over the course of our lives has come from Nintendo.
I would say for me, it's if I had to break it up into like fourth, just because 4 different systems, I would say it's probably a little less than a fourth for me for Nintendo over my entire life. Yeah, a little less than fourth.
See, and like I said, I was born about the same time as the NES came out. first console I ever played. I don't know if it was the Atari 2600 or the NES, but they were both there. I grew up with a Super Nintendo. I grew up with a Nintendo 64 and a GameCube. I did not get a Wii for the longest time because I couldn't find one.
Dude, my first console was the original PlayStation, the first PlayStation. That was my first console. I love that.
I never had an original PlayStation until very, very shortly. Actually, yeah, it was very shortly before I got my PS2.
Really? That's kind of surprising.
Because, so, the story on that was, when I was a kid, I was elementary, early middle school or something. I'd have to look that up to see exactly where I was when the Nintendo 64 came out. I wanted the Nintendo 64 because I wanted Super Mario 64, and I don't remember if it had been announced yet or not, but I was going nuts over Banjo-Kazooie and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. My brother, on the other hand, he wanted the PlayStation. So what ended up happening is, for our birthdays, my mom put on layaway, because you could put things on layaway back in the day.
I remember that. Oh my goodness. That makes me feel so old.
She put a Nintendo 64 on for my birthday, and she put a PlayStation on for his. Now you have to understand, our birthdays are only about 3 weeks apart, so that's a lot of money in a short amount of time.
That is a lot of money in a short amount of time.
So she layawayed them for long in advance. We knew we were going to get them.
Gotcha. They were not surprised.
She aimed to have them paid off for our birthdays, rather than, I'm putting it on for your birthday, you'll get it when it's done. So we knew it was coming, so it was just a countdown of when we were going to get it. So, I had a little bit of experience with the PlayStation because my brother wasn't a complete jerk as a kid. It was his console, but if I wanted to try it here or there, he didn't have a problem with sharing a little bit, as long as when he wanted to play it, I got off of it, because again, it was his TV, his console. I was in his room. That was his stuff. I had my TV and I had my console elsewhere. No problem. So, while I do have a little bit of experience with PlayStation prior to getting my own, the vast majority, Super Nintendo was the first console that I ever personally owned. And that was because my grandmother bought one and gave it to my dad for my brother and I. So it was our console. Then I got my Game Boy. So, long story short, I've had a lot of Nintendo consoles. Far more than any other company, if you go all told. So, yeah. They do stuff that I don't like, but I do like their games.
Yeah.
And will I end up getting this console?
It's a maybe.
Part of me wants to say yes, I will absolutely get a Switch 2, because there are things I'm looking forward to on it.
All I've got to say is Godfather.
No.
The one thing I do like about it, the launch and how they're handling the launch to prevent scalpers from getting it.
And those scalpers are chomping at the bits to snap all these up.
Right. But they're going to... they're releasing it. There's stipulations to it, but you have to have had 45 days of the pay Nintendo. You have to have spent so many hours on the console. And honestly, Godfather didn't take his Switch, so I need to play some Switch games, because he's the one that primarily plays the Switch. But he's literally like, it comes out a day before I get home! Yeah, I can get it ordered and it'll be there by the time I get home!
Yeah, Mario Kart is a must. It's just one of those things of absolutely for people like.
I have not played Mario Kart since Mario Kart 64.
Oh,
okay.
Brother.
So have you seen? Have you seen the memes where they are like, "I'm a good dad, but I'm not a good enough dad to let you beat me at Mario Kart" kind of dad? That is Godfather. I mean, my kids could be he won't let the littles in our family beat him at Mario Kart. There's a 6-year-old in our family.
They're not good at it either. He's just doesn't matter. Get better.
Yeah.
I'm not losing to you.
How was it when we were kids? Nobody played it easy on us. They
No.
absolutely
Yeah,
destroyed us until we got better.
You're absolutely correct, but that's what drove me to be as good. Now I'm toxic when it comes to video games
Yes.
because of that. Now I'm an asshole when I'm winning or losing. That's how, like.
See, but there's a difference between saying, "Hey, better luck next time." If you try doing this, maybe you'll get a little bit better out of it, and guiding them to get better, and not just, "Oh, you suck, you lose."
Yeah, again, having
we don't have to be jerks about it.
Absolutely, like, you shit, you suck, haha. It's like, okay, now I have to get good to fuck you up. Now,
We have I'm not sure if anybody's ever figured this out yet, but I am married to God's father and have been for a very long time.
Make it sound like you're ancient.
Yeah.
I said a very long time, and I was like, yeah,
I have been married to him for more than half my life.
All right, that's a very long time. That is a very long time.
We were pretty well known for picking up young kids in the lobbies, and this is going to sound bad until I fully explain it.
I was saying, please explain this. Saying, we were known for picking up little kids. Like, whoa, please finish that
sentence. We were pretty well known for finding the young assholes in early like PS2 lobbies and on games, and raising the few of them that are still around will say that we raised them online. We taught them, oh sure, I mean, you guys all know the God's father sayings about blow the people up and all that shit. Yeah, no, that's literally how we taught these kids. They're like, take no shit. But there's a point. And I do remember one of them who may quite likely watch this video. The whole, what's your dad's name? I'm gonna be your new mommy. Come here, bitch. I mean, I was doing that before social media, before YouTube, before streaming. I was not sweet kitty pie back then.
Evil kitty pie.
I was a different name, and my son played under that name. So the name is more in today's community, the name is more well known under his name. But I mean, you get some old school that sees that name and it's over. They're like, oh, hear the bitch.
And then Fireball's voice comes out of the comms.
Yeah. Well, he no longer uses it. So.
Oh. Something's going off right now.
Let's say I heard dog barking.
Okay,
yeah,
give me just a second. Hey, get in mom's room.
Did they listen?
Get up there and lay down.
Oh, they did listen. The dogs did listen to her. Look at that.
I mean, wouldn't you if you got yelled at like that?
Okay.
Maybe
you can edit that part out.
She got the ability to reach out and bitch slap you, so.
Are you opening the door?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So we're talking about dunking on little kids and teaching them the ways of the fuckery.
I mean, it is fun though. Ice squeakers. Oh, squeakers.
No, see, as being an ex-squeaker, back in my day, I didn't have a mic for the longest time because that's something my mother did not believe in. Was talking to people online. She didn't like that aspect of a child doing that, which I thank her for it. Because unironically, the amount of how do I say this without it sounding really bad? The amount of not safe for work type of things I would be saying to other people as a child would not have been okay. It would have been really bad. So, being known as like the silent motherfucker, like a silent little shit, like I'll send messages, whatnot, sure. Yeah, it was never. Yeah.
I have to say, the internet and video games have brought me my best friends. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with video games. Video games has also introduced my children to friends. Like, my best friend, I met on Neopets in 2001.
Neopets? What the fuck?
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can tell where the generation gap is right here. I start laughing. He's like, what the fuck is that?
No, I know what Neopets is. That's why I'm like, okay. I don't. All right. Fair enough.
Yep.
That's like for my generation. Oh yeah, I met my best friend on like Wizard 101 or Pop Tropica or anything like that.
What is that Penguins game that y'all used to play?
Club Penguins.
Club Penguin. Yeah, I met my best friend. I mean, for the time frame, yeah, it was. And I met another friend in a chat room where I was a toxic teenager.
Mm-hmm. Toxic how?
Yeah, we're not going
not
into
gonna
that.
elaborate.
We're not going into that.
Gonna elaborate.
I spent a lot of my mid to late teenage years in a Pokemon themed chat room that was anything but. So I get you.
I was
playing with Mega Blocks. That was my social interaction, playing with Mega Blocks with other people. My mom, you know, as I was younger, I realized that, you know, she actually set me up for a good thought process when it comes to interacting with just the online and the internet in general, plus gaming time. She limited my screen time, always made sure like I would be going outside doing other things besides playing games. Because I have some people that I know that are too addicted to games. To a degree where they don't take care of themselves, so it's pretty bad sometimes. It can get really bad. So I just want to state this for like anybody watching: don't ever let yourselves or anybody around you go down a path of not taking care of themselves due to their. It's an addiction. An addiction to video games because it's real. It is a very.
It
real
is absolutely.
Thing.
And I mean, sad. There's been. I have. Most recently left my schoolwork, like done things, especially before God's father left. He came up with these grand build schemes, and I did 2 massive builds online, and we worked on the subway, and that's like, you know, Minecraft is really the way that him and I we spend time together playing video games. So and ironically, we play video games together in separate rooms without headsets, and we don't yell at each other. We just, I mean, it's just kind of like our characters are in the same area, but we are not.
See, my wife and I do the same thing, only we're using Ark Survival Ascended as the medium.
Oh my god. Okay. How is that, by the way?
People complain about it, but we're having our fun.
That's what I was like.
Now, you have to understand that the easiest way to avoid most of the issues with Ark is don't play on the official servers.
You know what? Fair enough. There you go.
And you know what? I have a dedicated machine right there that hosts all of our game servers. My PC is over here. So I play, I manage the server, I keep it active. You know, my brother has started joining us from his PlayStation because it has crossplay.
Yes.
So now I not only do I have an ability to spend time with my wife in a fashion that we're both comfortable with.
Yeah.
I can spend time with my brother at the same time. So I 100% understand the whole gaming with your loved ones. It's a great way to spend time together. Although we do typically have headsets on and we're in Discord talking.
We are close enough. Yeah, I'm off camera taking a drink. We are close enough to where, like I said, I don't have a headset. I have issues with my ears to where headsets don't work. I generally have AirPods, which should have probably been in my ears, and because that's how I'd been doing it. But I mean, as long as the sound sounds okay around here, I guess we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Haven't heard any feedback, so you're golden.
No feedback. It's almost like never mind. I'm not gonna
It's almost like I might know what I mean.
It's almost like the producer knows what she's doing. Oh my goodness. No, it's I don't really have a lot of the gaming with loved ones like experience, because I did with like cousins and siblings, right? But it was more of the being forged in the flames, getting tempered. And they created a monster. I remember the exact moment to where they didn't want to play games with me anymore because I got too into it. Like, I wanted my get
You
back.
do.
I wanted my revenge.
To,
and I legitimately was like,
absolutely. Out in the Shire, we have Mario Kart nights, and I want to set up a live stream camera, whether it's from, my iPad, my Mac, one of your guys' laptops. I want to set up a full live stream. I will sit on the comments, but the way you get into games, like it's more fun when you're playing. It is way more fun.
That's the kind of thing that you need to stick, like, you create an OnlyFans just so they can get the unedited, uncensored, like, complete brawl that it devolves into.
Yeah, definitely would have to start a Patreon because it would not be able to be.
Patreon would also be a good one.
Yeah.
I was just thinking something that you can stream to that, people really got to go looking for it, but I am aware that site is kind of notorious.
OnlyFans would give the illusion that it would also be topless.
I could do that. I could play Mario Kart naked. I could do that. When I get mad or when I win, just start like air thrusting. Yeah, I could totally do that. Yeah. Just saying, there's a revenue stream that could be a good revenue stream. No, like legitimately, I remember the game.
What? You do you, boo. You do. I remember
the game exactly. It was Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. That game specifically with some of my cousins. I remember because at the advanced movement with like the XO jump packs and all that. I was notorious for liking to just run around. I love melee weapons. If nobody ever knew this, I love melee builds and everything like that. Most of the time, I do D&D. I play as a monk. I just punch shit.
I don't know what melee weapons are.
I am.
But for Call of Duty, you could run around with just a knife. You didn't have to take a gun. You just run around with a knife. I would do that all the time. And I got to the point of where I was able to like pull maneuvers out that you would see in like I'm trying to think of like a space type of move, like a Dune. I was pulling some movies like some moves like from Dune, just fucking gliding around, murking motherfuckers. And it got to the point where it's like, yeah, it got to the point where they're like, this is not fun playing with you anymore. Holy shit, no, I'm done. And it's just like, oh, come on, this is fun.
So, probably one of my funniest stories that I have about my child is it was 2006. We had 2 PS2s. We were very heavy into Black Hawk Down. Very, very heavy into Black Hawk Down. Well, we decided to start teaching him. And at this time we lived in a small 2-bedroom apartment house, and we lived our bedroom was in the basement, which is where mine was, and my child was playing on my PS2. And I'm down doing laundry just on the other side of the wall of my bedroom. And all I hear is my 5-year-old. Now out of all of you, you guys are all gonna laugh. All of a sudden, I hear you kill me again, I'm gonna fuck your mom! I then went upstairs to Godfather and said, you can no longer play video games around our child. So you're gonna have to learn how to stop your mouth.
I may have had to stop watching South Park because my son did something.
Oh no!
When he was 3.
Ooh, my goodness. Oh, Lordy.
So I can totally believe what you're saying because, yeah.
Yeah.
I already know when I have kids, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna teach them the most awful things, but to use it in moderation, right? Like there's a time and a place for everything.
I watched you teach youngs already.
No, don't bring that up. That's not. They're not. Those aren't my kids. Okay.
It doesn't count until he pops out his own.
It's not my problem. That's on the parent for not. As Godfather would say, That's on the parent for not being able to be there and monitoring. That's on them. I'm just saying.
You let the internet babysit, you get what you get.
Exactly.
But
no,
Godfather is, and I love him dearly, and he is a super, super fun person. But if you get him in like an MMORPG or first-person shooter or anything or Mario Kart, anything competitive, he like has this toxic switch that he can flip on in like 2.2 seconds or less, and he turns into this person that nobody wants to be around. And like for instance, I became significantly better at World of Warcraft than him. Significantly better. And he would go around and start talking shit to these people, and it would be like, I'm gonna get my wife to come beat your ass. And then all of a sudden I'd hear, babe,
they're being mean to me on the game.
They won't stop killing me. Will you come take care of them? God damn it. So off I would go, and here I am, this teeny tiny little rogue, throw my PvP gear on, and next thing you know, I'm killing like a paladin and 2 warriors. And he's like, "Ha, fuckers! I told you she'd come kick your ass."
Certain fights his ass can't check. I got it.
I didn't like on World of Warcraft. I did not like PvP. I'm not an arenas person. I was not a battlegrounds person. I was in-game content. No, I had to do PvP because of him. Strictly because of him. I had to have because otherwise, and there were times where he would call me in and he'd have like this, like, it would be guild on guild. He would start guild on guild wars.
Jesus Christ.
You know, in some of our conversations recently, he's been like more and more like, I really want to get back into that world.
He actually has been talking. He's very much considering it.
I know. I do too. I actually, I left World of Warcraft. I'm, again, a butthurt person. And when they took the talent trees away, to where you couldn't really build your own talent tree, I mean, I was second best in World Rogue, or on server Rogue. I was like 7th or 8th best Rogue in game. I mean, I was completely killing it. I was a spec that didn't work, but somehow always managed to beat everybody else. I mean, yeah, I would get so many people like, oh, you're a combat rogue. Oh, your DPS is gonna suck. And I would be like, watch the meters. Watch this. And I would make it work. Do I know how I made it work?
See, in combat isn't even a thing anymore. They're now swashbucklers. And they specialize in using a pistol and a sword to just beat the ever-living shit out of whatever they want.
And I don't know. See, so much has changed. And
it'd honestly be really fun to get you guys back into it and just follow you around and see how you do things from a player who's like, actively played this whole time, and then you guys coming back after such a long time.
I played Pandaria. I played Horde versus Alliance. I have. Well, let's look it up and see what my main is.
So if you played Mr. Pandaria, that came out in 2012.
Yes.
After that, 2014, Warlords of Draenor.
17-ish, 17, 18 was the last time that I really played.
So you made it through Legion and into Battle for Azeroth.
I think Battle for Azeroth was the last I played. But I had the Mac, and the Mac didn't have game mode at that point. So...
Oh, they quit supporting the game on the Mac?
No, it just ran so slow.
Oh,
that my FPS was only like 2 or 3. And when I was at the height of playing WoW, I was running So I had a top of the line tower with a 47-inch TV as my monitor. So there's a reason why I would be able to see everything, had the least amount of deaths. And the way I got away with a 47-inch monitor is God's father was again deployed. And it was when video chatting was first becoming a thing. So I talked him into letting me get that TV as a monitor, so the kids would able to see him in life size, so they would feel more like Dad was there. So my toxic trait is getting my husband to do what I want.
Pretty easy to do that.
You and every wife on this planet.
Yeah. Oh Lordy. And some, somewhat gaming related news still. I was gonna say there's two pieces. One, Monster Hunter Wilds surpassed 10 million units sold.
They gave all the players in game a nice little package for that too.
Did they actually? I have not. Yeah. I have not played for a hot second. I've been waiting for the first title update to come out, which it's out.
Which has come out now. That came out this week.
I should play.
The next time you log in and get your daily bonus, you'll get that $10 million thing. But you only got a few more days to do it because it's only like until the 7th or something like that. So make sure you log in and collect that.
I'll do that after the podcast, just to make sure I get 10 million zenny. Fuck yeah.
You're not getting 10 million, but you're going to get
10.
No, it's 10 million purchases, and they gave you a nice little package of supplies and stuff. There's some armor spheres and bombs and materials and stuff in there. So it's nothing game breaking, but it's still nice.
I was gonna say 10 million zenny, dude. I'd never have to worry about zenny again. Okay, sure. Absolutely, sure. No, but that's good news. I like when games are made with passion and actually some soul in it. I like when they do well. That's all. Like, there are games out there, like any devs, like even Schedule 1, which is a title on Steam about cooking and selling drugs. But it's still a fun game. You play with friends and whatnot. But
I saw Fireball playing that yesterday.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just a fun little game, and it's a passion project for one dude. But it's worth the money, right? I like when games do well when they have heart and soul put into it. With that being said, some bigger news onto the Ubisoft shareholders. There are some Ubisoft shareholders who would like a renegotiation with the Tencent deal. They are not happy. Pissed. They are not happy about it right now. Because in late March of 2025, Ubisoft announced a new Tencent-backed subsidiary that would take over Assassin's Creed series, Far Cry series, and the Rainbow Six series.
A significant portion of their income stream is now getting shunted over to this subsidiary.
Even though these games are still under the Ubisoft umbrella, like they're still owned. Don't worry about that. It's the fact that these titles would be put under new leadership with Tencent, and Tencent would control, and this is the deal currently, control 25% of its stake. Which technically makes them majority stake owner in those claims, because only Ubisoft is 10% right now of its own. It's weird how that works. However, a lot of investors have called for renegotiations, because that is not a good deal in their eyes. So we shall see, honestly, how that goes. It's no
matter what they do, we're gonna lose.
No matter what happens, just know the price of our games are gonna go up regardless. The
investors will end up happy, players will not.
Yep. And speaking on the fact of prices, not to get into the real world politics or anything like that, but real world events affect other industries and things of that nature.
That was one other thing I wanted to talk about was
with the Switch. Yeah,
Switch 2 has postponed their pre-orders. They were supposed to go live Monday or something like that
this week. Yeah,
and they postponed that because of the uncertainty with the tariffs, and they don't want to set pre-orders only to find out that instead of 450 now US players are going to be paying an extra, 10, 15, $75. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
Nobody knows what's going on with these tariffs, and that cost is going to get brought down to the consumer.
Oh, absolutely.
So they're waiting to see what's going on with that before they let anyone pre-order it. It may be entirely possible that Nintendo just goes, "Sorry, United States, you don't get it."
Yeah, it's a big possibility. But yeah, I didn't want to bring too much real world politics into this. That does affect
it is an active thing that is affecting gaming, and therefore it is industry news.
It is. Oh man, I hate when certain things get affected. That's all. It's not the first time this has happened in the gaming industry. It won't be the last. There's always these ebbs and flows. The ebb and flow of the market is very.
The thing with this though is how long until it really starts to affect the US based game developers who are no longer able to just readily export their games to other countries. The UK and the EU are going to start paying through the nose for stuff as well.
Yeah.
Unless the tariffs specifically exempt Europe from any of that because they're our allies. I don't know. I'm intentionally not paying attention to politics.
One of the big things about tariffs, and this is what my degrees that I already have done are in. So what's okay, so I'm going to try to explain this without so the EU already has a tariff on anything that the US imports. I have seen many creators that live abroad who have things shipped from the US to them, and then they have to pay tariffs at the door. The actual person that ordered it has to pay the postman the tariffs. That is why, you see all these people that are like, "Oh, I love ranch dressing. I miss ranch dressing from the US." Well, why don't you just order it from the US and ship it? Well, the EU has a 35% tariff on stuff shipped in from the US. And then they have to pay that at the door. Which is another reason why you see all these US markets where a bottle of ranch dressing is $15. Or in Australia, a box of cereal is $8. Because they already have imported tariffs on US products. But it's not a reciprocal thing. So the US doesn't have tariffs on stuff the EU sends us, or Australia sends us. So why?
I would say it's probably because a lot of those countries prefer to produce their own stuff in-house, and the United States is kind of notorious for, we exported all of our industry to other countries because it was cheaper to import the stuff than it was to produce it at home.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of funny when all of those corporations suddenly start moving back because they don't want to.
So nope, we're not going political. We're not going political. Let's move on. I'm going to do my producer thing and say, let's move on.
Speaking of politics, real quick. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. It was a joke. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry, I didn't want to go any further in that anyway. That was just ADHD popping into my head.
Yeah. Oh, more Nintendo news. It's just like little things like this. That's like they do good things, but why are they doing such shitty things? They're making a wheelchair sports game that's going to be able to be played by people who are in wheelchairs. It won't require you to like be in the full range of motion for things like most Nintendo games are. That's a pretty unique thing. It's like that's an exclusive. It's like, oh, that's cool. That's a true to form like exclusive.
I thought
something you won't be able to get anywhere.
I thought you were talking about they were coming out with a game like Wii Sports in wheelchair.
I mean, essentially, that's what it is.
I actually saw an article about this, and the person playing it was talking about how initially they thought they'd have to be sitting at a table to play it, but it turns out you can just rub the controllers on your legs for the same effect, and it'll work there too. So any kind of semi-hard surface you can use to brace against on the controller should function for that. But at the same time, you know, how much backlash are they going to get for difficult controls from just normal able-bodied players?
Well, it's not a game.
You know what? That's not what it's about.
Yeah.
And if you are an able-bodied player and can't figure out how the wheelchair players can kick your ass at a video game, you are the problem.
Yeah, but let's face it, you know, gamers are notoriously toxic as a whole.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they will bitch about anything.
If it exists, it's been made to be complained about. That is what I've learned. You can't appease everybody, so you know that's just how it is.
Can't please everybody, but it's really easy to piss everybody off.
Yes. I mean, but even then, you can say piss everybody off, but you're really not pissing everybody off. There's just a few loud people that you're pissing off.
I don't know. Maybe we should ask Nintendo about that one.
I would. Well, I mean, it is because the more and more I read up on it, the more Nintendo's doing some things, but they're capitalizing on others. And let's be real. In the end of the day, it's a business. So they need to figure out how to make money. And I am not fully convinced that some of these things were not already figured with the climate the way it is. I think that they are using some of that as a crutch. And I think that what you hear, what you are told, is not necessarily why or what is going on.
Oh, of course. Everything is filtered and censored and funneled.
Right. I mean,
but the only thing that I know is if I don't like what a company's doing, the only way I've got to express that displeasure is to not give them my money.
Exactly.
So I'm going to hold off on the Switch for the time being.
And let's be completely real. Nintendo is one of the companies that is absolutely notorious for a couple times a year significantly discounting their games. Like,
unless they're first party.
No. And even then, we bought Mario Party before the new Mario Party came out for $3 online.
Well, that's surprising because I'm used to Nintendo sales. You get like a $60, $70 game, you might get $10 off of it, and it's been out for years. Through the eShop sales or their limited edition, Nintendo Store sales. So
the one thing I have noticed is the only time that you really get a good deal is when they're getting ready to release the next game.
Yeah, they want to unload the back stock of the old.
Right. And that's, you know what? If I like a game, that's fine. A lot of times I'll use friends' games or like you were talking about, Share. And then you have apparatus like Play Store, or what is it called? Xbox
the Game
Store? Pass.
Oh, Game Pass? Yeah.
Then you have things like Game Pass where you can get release day games for free and have a great time with that. Because I mean, I know that's how last year we played MLB, the show last year, because they released it on Game Pass day of release.
Isn't it this year too?
No, we had to buy the full game this year.
Oh.
Well, are we about done? Yeah. We're kind of way over.
Oh, sorry. Not way. Only 14 minutes, It could be worse.
He'll recoup a little bit of that when he cuts all of our
There's a
rambling
little
out.
bit of a little bit of the rambles. Yeah, I mean, we should wrap it up. Why don't you start with us wrapping it up?
Well, my thoughts around the Shire is I don't do much. I'm just here to handle some of this stuff. I may or may not ever stream. I may or may not ever give you guys a streaming platform. So there's that. I have no thoughts in the Shire. You just get to see me once in a while.
And say I don't know about around the Shire because I'm pretty far away from the Shire, but I'm just gonna do my thing. I'm in Discord. Sometimes I pop in and I'll stream into Discord. I don't stream on Twitch or YouTube or anything, though I am slowly getting a little bit of a setup going here. Maybe I'll consider it. In the meantime, I'm just around. If people want to talk or something, hit me up on the Gnomad Gamers Discord, and I'm more than happy to pop into voice. Lots adjacent to the Shire. There you go. That's all I got.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was coming back in. So thoughts around the Shire. It was a good episode. I enjoy talking with everybody. Unironically, it's a nice somewhat change of pace, not to scream and shout, bark every now and then at God's Father. It's nice to give my voice a rest every now and then. I enjoyed having both of you on. This was fun. Oh, sorry, I'm a little seasonal allergies are kicking my ass right now. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Last 2 weeks I've been congested to hell and back. So I am still working on a couple videos. The little fun skidooty video I have. I'm just gonna name drop it now. It is a Schedule 1 video with some friends of mine that when we're playing through. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. ETA on that video will probably be around the 11th of this month, 11th to 12th. That's what I'm shooting for. So we'll keep your eyes open for that. But other than that, it's back to the three of us. This is it. Who wants to lead us out?
Since you make Fireball do it all the time, you do it.
I do it?
You do it.
All right, I'll go first. All right. This is Kaiser Chungus. Ciao.
I guess I'll go next. Zenar Crest Rider signing out.
Sweet kitty pie. See you later.